We are talking to Brett Williams about many things, including his fight on September 27th in Bare Knuckle Boxing, Empire State Brawl against Cub Hawkins. If you don't know Brett Williams, you better get to know him. He came out on the wrong end of this fight, but he gave superstar Hawkins one hell of a run and proved that he belongs. Here, he'll tell you more about himself and why you better pay attention. And remember, when he's a star, when he's holding a title, you heard about him here on knuckletfup.com.
Yeah, absolutely. Honored to, you know, get more information out there, especially after this such big fight.
Yeah, that fight was a big fight. And how did that come about? I mean, this was only your third fight, bare knuckle fight total, right? How many in the organization? Was it all three there, or?
uh, no, so my combat sports record beforehand was 3-1, and one of those is pro boxing. But my I had two fights for the BKFC, one fight for Valor before it went under, and then this was my first one for the BKB.
Okay,
And
interesting. So that's good. So to me, look, I tell everybody I've been watching bare knuckle fighting about 4 months, coming out of major pro wrestling fandom. Got sick of it and was looking for something else. So
yeah.
I'm not. I've read as much as I can, but I don't know everything. But
Mhm.
it's grabbed me instantly, and this is how I see this again from my untrained, unofficial eye. So they saw you, in my opinion, as someone who could give someone like Cub Hawkins a fight, right? I mean, they're not going to put a bum in there with him, really. They want someone that at least stands a shot of giving him a good fight. Do you agree? Or
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is, like, when you recently come from pro wrestling, which I'm a huge pro wrestling guy.
okay,
Um, that was something I even explored maybe getting into because inactivity nearly killed my career. But I'm back where I belong. But the thing is from the perspective, like, for one, the optics look great.
right.
Um, it's following the blueprint. You've got two guys, different nationalities, essentially. Well, not technically. I am American,
Right.
but you got really good optics. You got guys that have obvious tension, um, which it was really mostly for the business. Like, I'm a very respectful guy. Cub's been nothing but respectful afterwards, but he did talk a lot of shit, and I had to talk shit back because I'm not gonna let some grown man do that. But it's super great optics, and he's just running through everybody. It's not even competitive, and people don't want to fight him. And with me, I've been inactive for so long when it comes to bare knuckle. I've been training for pro boxing, which completely different sport, completely different style, completely different everything. And I end up in this situation. So I do everything humanly possible to, like, give myself a chance to win, like training in Argentina with my Russian coach, and, like, really dialing in everything. But anyway, we end up having the better optics. It's the better draw since the main event fell through.
Mhm.
And so I had to really, like, seize the moment. And there's different ways it could have went, because for the promotion, it's like, oh, we're really gambling on this guy that's a debut guy to come in here and survive our current champion for, like, longer than 30 seconds, because
Right.
it's terrible optics
Mhm.
if I go in there and I just get hit one time and fall on the ground, and it's like, oh God, this guy came to collect a paycheck.
Yeah.
We fucked up here. Excuse my language. It's like we really messed this up. So we hope that he's coming to fight. But me, I'm telling him the whole time, I'm coming to fight.
Right.
I don't give a damn. I'm coming to fight. And not only that, I'm coming to win. I know I can win. I know I can fight. But again, it's a big mystery. Like, who is this guy?
Mm-hmm.
You know, he hasn't fought in years, and he's been so inactive. And like, if you watch any film of me, it's from years ago. Like, I'm not even nowhere near that same guy.
Right.
So I had to come in and I had to surprise him, for as long as I could before I got caught. So it ended up being great for the promotion, great for Cub, obviously. And it was actually very helpful for me as well, as far as, exposure and getting my name back out there again and being relevant again and people being like, wow, like we haven't seen, a lot of Brett's fights. He just goes in and hits someone one time and knocks him out. But like, this is the first time we've seen him against like the top of the top. And, it was good all around. I'm not too beat up about it at the moment.
No, it wouldn't be. I mean, it was the third round he caught you with that overhand, and it's what he's known for, that right overhand. They said that on commentary 100 times. All of it, he hits that right overhand, and that's what he eventually did. But the first two rounds, for what it's worth, I thought were pretty even. And I think
Yeah.
some people were, I don't want to say surprised, but some people were like sort of leaning in, like, wow, this is actually going to be good.
Yeah.
So that was a good thing. But you brought up the Soviet style. So can you tell me something about that? What I mean, my mind, I'm a 55-year-old guy. I float back to, the old Rocky movie with the Russian and stuff. So tell us what that's about.
So my coach, Roman, he trained under a one of the USSR's like great. Um, they have a specific word for it, like master of sports, which would be our equivalent of like, I don't know, what would we call like a Hall of Fame journeyman coach.
Yeah.
In Soviet Russia, they call it a master of sports,
Okay.
and he trained under him. And that particular coach coached Bivol when he was young. So the Dmitry Bivol, and we come from that same lineage. But Roma, my coach, has like his own version of that Soviet school, and basically, like it's something that I've always been infatuated with, and I found him on Reddit like probably 4 years ago now.
Okay.
And anyway, I wouldn't leave him alone.
Yeah.
But all his students are Russians,
Okay.
and they're very successful. I mean, they are just eating dudes alive overseas. But I'm the only English speaking um, student he has, and he does. I mean, he speaks multiple languages, but why work with some random guy from America?
Right.
You know, what is But I just never left him alone, and we ended up building a bond because I proved how serious I was about the school, leading all the way up to he's been coaching me for years, getting me ready for fights. Like Zoom calls, videos, a lot of discussion back and forth, a lot of like technique, a lot of breaking down sparring, and then me going and actually training with him for this fight. And the way that I describe like our style, it's not known in America. It's so foreign to everyone, and I get a lot of haters
Yeah.
because they're like, why don't you just do like this, like Floyd Mayweather or like Canelo? Like, why don't you just walk in
Right.
and do this? And I'm like, you can't argue with people like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you've been doing sheetrock for 20 years, you can't explain to someone who's on, their first day on the job, like why you do things in a particular way. But the school itself is actually incredibly simple,
Mm-hmm.
but it is the most difficult thing you could possibly imagine with like the tiny little nuances and details.
Right.
And like I felt like I had an answer for whatever Cub was going to do. Um, the two things that I really I messed up on is and this is my own fault. I'm not throwing shade at anybody. This is my own fault. My own fault.
Okay.
I fought for the BKFC before. Did not like that experience, but that's another story.
Okay.
Um, but they fight in the clinch a lot.
Yep.
Single collar ties,
Yep.
overhooks, underhooks, and it's. I thought that the BKB, it was illegal to fight in the clinch. I thought it was more like pro boxing,
Right.
whereas when we clinch, it's like, all right, I'm not here to hug and kiss. Like, let's break it up and let's fist fight.
Right.
And so, but that's my own ignorance, and I just have to repeat that because some people are like, oh, what, and like, no, this is Brett's fault. This is Brett's fault. I'm a grown man. I can take responsibility.
Right.
So you see, he did a lot of his damage, not in the boxing realm, because his boxing, like, I outbox guys that are like a foot taller than me.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no problems. But he did really well, and kind of ragdoll me out of position because I have a really good base, but he would ragdoll me with his collar ties and working in range one. And I didn't do anything back.
Yeah.
I just like was trying to push him away so we could go back to boxing.
Yeah.
I didn't want to fight. I didn't want to collar tie. Like I was in my head, I'm like, okay, he's getting some good shots off, but like that shit ain't bothering me. Like it's kind of weird. I thought this was illegal. Again, this is all my own fault.
Yeah.
And they even explained it in the rules meeting, but I was probably listening to like the Iliad or something in my earphones. Like I was like, I don't like I've been doing this a long time. Like so anyway, he got a lot of good shots off. And he really controlled the clinch. And that was a big one that I messed up on. And when I would follow my shots in, I wouldn't execute in range one. I would just wait to, I waited a lot to set up, my big right hand that knocks everyone out. But I was never really able to get it with his lateral movement. And watching the fight back, he turns me into a corner, but I actually wanted him to come to the corner. And I use a shoulder roll in boxing, and I use it to great effect. So in bare knuckle, we didn't want to completely just take it away because we're not huge fans of the high guard,
Yeah.
which is like, oh God, I can't see anything. You beat me up with my hands.
Yeah.
So we wanted to keep a high elbow, and I wanted to wait for him to not throw the overhand, but to throw a straight right and to let me roll and come back, boom, boom, boom.
Okay.
Because a lot of our system is a cadence and it's a rhythm.
Yeah.
And we have to do things in a cadence and a rhythm. We can't just go out there and just
flurry.
Yeah, that's not what we want to do. Don't get me wrong. That's how I started my career out. You watch my early fights. I was just a human bulldozer, but I don't.
Yeah.
not when you know more about the nuances of the sport.
Yeah, I'd say I'm not going to sit here and act like a boxing expert at all, but I did grow up watching boxing because boxing was, in my opinion, much bigger back when I was young. I just barely made the Muhammad Ali days, but even after that, Sugar Ray Leonard and Mike Tyson, of course, and George Foreman and a lot of those guys, I'd watch it with my dad. It used to be on free TV back then, like World of Sport and stuff. You'd get all these big boxing matches on network television, so I did watch it.
The biggest thing is like I'm respectful, I'm kind. I'm an absolute killer when when they pay me to be.
Right.
But other than that, like I'm not on no bully kind of stuff. I would wear a kilt during some of my amateur boxing matches.
Yeah.
Which is also a part of my family's ancestry, not as much as the Danks, but it's Clan Campbell of Argyle. And like to me, like history and family history is very important to me.
So your world traveled. You mentioned that with the Soviet thing, and I've read your information online saying you performed in numerous countries and stuff. And you think that's going to help you? Yeah, Cub Hawkins overcame you, and congrats to him. But you said how this isn't familiar to a lot of people. I think that's going to help you in the future, right? I mean, you assume so, right? That people
Oh yeah,
you're doing basically.
yeah. Like the actual hardest fight I've ever had was the sparring sessions I had in like the favela type area in like Argentina. Those sparring sessions were harder than any fight I've ever had in my entire life.
Right.
Like you go into these rundown shacks, and like, there's people that live and sleep on the floor,
Right.
and their only chance of making it in life is fighting.
Right.
And so, and no one speaks English.
Mm.
um so, I'm fighting these dudes, and they're being screamed at by their coaches like, fight for your life, something something gringo,
Yeah.
fight for your life. And then my Russian coach is like, fight for your family, fight for Denmark, like, you go and kill them. This is sparring,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like something, there's different levels of sparring. Like, you and your buddy can go spar for a couple minutes just having fun. These are sparring sessions where we are being screamed at to fight for our families.
Right.
And like, it's like in a third world section area esque of like Argentina,
Hmm.
which the majority of Argentina was beautiful,
Right.
like beautiful, just like Europe. But this particular section was not.
Right.
And that was the hardest fighting of my life. And having to go through those experiences mentally.
Hmm.
And the biggest thing my coach told me is like, because, I would have to walk for like 3-4 miles, carrying like 10 pounds on my back. And then we would have to travel for like 2.5 hours, taking trains, taxis, and then a lot of walking just to get to the gym. I show up, and I'll have all my clothes on already. I get no warm up. They have to immediately get me dressed. No nothing. No wrapping. Just you got to get straight in the ring,
Right. Yeah.
because they're on a time schedule. And the biggest thing he told me was like, Brett, the biggest reason for this is not like for like physical toughness, or even like to really help you with the fight, because Latin Americans fight, not all of them, but a lot of them fight in the same kind of manner. They're heavier. They go to the body a lot.
Yeah.
They like to walk you down with head movement and a high guard. So it's not like exactly like fighting like how my opponent would fight. Who's wide open, but he's got great lateral movement, and all these other things. What? Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right.
Um, yeah. So anyway, it's not, it's not like the best kind of sparring getting ready for Cub.
Yeah.
But as far as mental toughness,
Yeah.
like developing like an iron will, and that's the mindset that I had, like leaving Argentina and going to New York. And when he was saying like, I could tell he was shaking and this, that, and the other. It's like, no, I was shaking because I put my feet really close together,
Mhm.
like for weigh-ins, and I had to like keep my balance while like thinking in my head like the worst humanly things possible. But he's a veteran, so he staggered his stance, and that's what I needed to do as well. So I was kind of off balance, like standing with my little, my feet like a ballerina.
Yeah.
But there was no fear. Like I don't, and it's truly a lot of that is being well traveled and fighting people and training with other nationalities, because most Americans never have that experience. So I had no fear. I was not scared of him at all. I'm truly not scared of anyone.
Yeah.
Um, and I truly believed that I was gonna win, that I had a chance of winning. And what happened. So it's only going to help me moving forward, because now you can't, in the BKB, you can't just say like, oh, we're grabbing some dude off the street,
Right.
journeyman, this Brett Williams guy. It's like, oh no, we got a fucking tough fight on our hands, and
Yeah.
he's back to training. Like I was, I was literally fixing to go train, and then I forgot that we had this interview. So like,
Old
I'm
news.
yeah, I'm ready to get back after it.
It makes me think of a little bit. I've watched some Muay Thai too. A friend turned me onto that, and I've been watching that. And you weren't in that, and I understand that. But what you were saying about how they're sleeping on the floor and that's all they do. It's the same way in that sport. It seems, especially in
Mhm.
Thailand and stuff. You know, they're just
Yeah.
they live it. You know, sparring is
Mhm.
not the same thing as sparring is over here, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But no, I appreciate your time here. We're getting already about 25 minutes, which I appreciate. Let me see if I can grab you some typical kinds of questions that I ask. Um, you said about the time frame. You know, it's been so long that you fought, and I'm not looking to blame anybody, but I talked to Kat Connors, and she brought that up too. That sometimes getting a fight, even if you're good, even if you're great, sometimes it's hard. You know, it's like getting on a card.
Mhm.
I talked to a couple different fighters who say that. It's like they'll ask me, they're like, "Can you tweet out that you'd like to see me?" You know, like maybe
Yeah.
we'll see that or something. You know, do you find that? Did you find that being your problem in the past?
I was fighting underground bare knuckle, and then my manager Scott Farley found me on fucking excuse my language. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
He found me on YouTube. Like I was like the Kimbo Slice of
Oh,
Pensacola.
okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had a dream. Like I didn't want to do anything else except for bare knuckle, but I had to get all my amateur fights out of the way to get my professional license,
Hmm.
which in some states you don't even have to do. But I'll leave that at that.
Yeah.
So I did all my amateur boxing matches. I had an amateur MMA fight. I was fighting a lot underground, and my biggest dream in the world was to fight for the BKFC. At the time, I never even heard of BKB
Right.
or the BYB. I never heard of any of that. I just knew the BKFC,
Right.
and that was my only dream. Because after I had one loss where my corner threw in the towel, I had so much damage.
Yeah.
Um, I just didn't have an answer for. I didn't have a good game plan. I wasn't the fighter that I am now. But I it was so hard to get me another bare knuckle fight. And I was offered a fight, but I had to cut over 46 pounds.
Jeez.
And I can't like physically do that.
Yeah.
Like that to get to that weight class would take me it would take me over 10 months probably. I could do it in less than a year probably,
Hmm.
but that's insane. Like my bone, especially my bone density and my genetics and the way that I'm built. And then at the time that they wanted me to cut this weight and fight this fight, I was like in the worst place I've ever been mentally
Hmm.
because I suffer with depression really
Okay.
bad. I don't have a reason
Hmm.
to be. It's a hereditary thing, just to
Okay.
make that clear.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh man, my life sucks. Like, no, I got an awesome life. I get to be a rock star.
Yeah.
It's a hereditary thing. So it's just something that I deal with. But I was like, particularly like this was the lowest point of my life. And I had to cut all this weight. And they were like, if he doesn't take this fight, like, we're done with him.
Mm.
So that was it. And it was like, and the thing is the guy, I would fight him any day of the week. Like I would put my belt to his ass.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like a bad little stepchild.
Yeah.
But I physically cannot make that weight, and I respect. Like I can't. I shouldn't even be talking shit about the guy if I can't make the weight.
Right.
Like that's professionalism. But they they said okay, we're pretty much done with you. So here I am. I have no prospects for bare knuckle. And at the time, I still like, I had no exposure to BKB or the BYB or how that was all going about. I did know about Dada 5000 from like documentaries.
Yep.
Because I was like the Kimbo Slice of Pensacola, rest in peace. But I knew about Dada, but I don't think it was until um I can't really remember, but I just knew of an organization that was fighting in Great Britain,
Mm.
and I thought that like they fight in like a different kind of ring,
Yeah.
and you can't fight in the clinch. It's more like gentlemen, like boxing.
Okay.
What I like, you know. And the only other thing I knew of was Top Dog in
Yep.
Russia,
Almost brought that
which
up.
yeah. So my coach works heavily with Top Dog.
Okay.
So that was an option that we explored, but we explored it like here recently, right before the BKB contract. But before that, I would just train all the time, just train, 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 and imagine training harder than all your peers,
Mhm.
taking it way more serious than all your peers in the place you're around. Like I'm talking about, like just you're so far above them levels with intensity,
Right.
and it's for no reason.
Yeah.
No reason. So like I sacrifice my time, my finances, and I'm doing all of this for no reason. And then I wait. And then you would hear, oh, there might be, we might have something for Brett, hear nothing for 3 weeks. Oh, we might have something for Brett, hear nothing for a month. So it got to be so bad that I was like, I'm going to retire. And then I took an exhibition fight, which is like, and that's how bad I needed to fight somebody.
Right.
And fighting an exhibition fight is like um kissing like your first cousin,
Right.
but she's she's not that hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she's like a five. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So like kissing your first cousin that's a girl isn't that bad, but she's not even hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how I was kind of looking at it, because I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'll kiss my cousin. That's cool. But so it's not like a win situation. But me, I'm a warrior. So I'm going in here with the mentality that I'm going to try and kill this guy. And I nearly get him knocked out in the first round. And then we're in a cage.
Mm.
So he has this game plan. His coaches are like, all right, for the next 4 rounds, you're going to hug him and kiss him and really love on him. So that's what he did. He was just making love to me for 4 rounds and just had me like pinned up against the cage, and like, he's like, your skin is so soft, and like, I really like your tattoos, and they just do something to me. And I'm like, I'm trying to knock you out, dude.
Yeah.
I I don't want to kiss you. So
Yeah.
but that just shows, like, to speak back to the original topic, like how low I was,
Right. Yep.
that I'm having to take an exhibition boxing fight with 12-ounce gloves, which is not what we wear in professional boxing,
Right.
in a cage against a guy. It's exhibition, so he can't get punished, like, or penalized.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm that far that I got another grown man hugging and kissing on me,
Wow.
and I'm like, I just want a war.
Right.
And I get hooked up with another local promotion, and it was thrown together like last second, over in Mobile, Alabama. It was kind of like a last second thing. I actually had to pull some strings to like help my opponent, make sure he was taken care of medical wise. But that was honestly like my retirement fight. I thought,
Okay.
like, hey, I'm just gonna go off into the sunset. I don't want to train anymore. I don't. I absolutely hate training. I hate getting ready for fights. I hate the sport. I hate all this stuff. You know, I'm going to go and compete in other sports that are going to take better care of me,
Right.
because this sport has not. Um, so after that fight, I also compete in a sport called the Highland Games.
Okay.
So I went back to doing that, but you know, fist fighting and trying to kill each other is different than like Olympic style throwing objects. So, I could feel that like burning within me. And then I had another chance. This was, we've gotten all the way to, 8, 9 weeks ago. Um, again, like I can't get a fight, especially with the BKFC. They want nothing to do with me. And I told my manager at one point in time, I said, if the BKB, hey, you're done. I told my manager with the BKB, I was like, or if they offer an opportunity, like, let's see if we can do something with them.
Right.
Like if I could get a contract, like this could save my career.
Yeah.
Like, because then I won't be just training for no reason all the time.
Yep.
And but I was gonna fight for a local promotion. And then an event fell through. So I had no options, no nothing. And then I get the phone call from my manager and he says, this is what they've offered. You get a 4-fight deal and here's your opponent. And it's like, okay, my opponent is a current world champion, multi-time world champion, Hall of Famer, finishing everybody.
Yep.
Even the one fight he lost, he dropped Cisneros. And like at that point in time, I wasn't even training.
Okay.
I'm like, I honestly, my mentality was whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even care. Like, whatever. But then that immediately like started transferring into, you know what? This is what I needed.
Yeah.
Like, I need like the hardest guy possible to really kind of recenter my focus. So that's when I took all the money I had and I had a lot of help as well. And I threw it all at going to Argentina and living there and training there for nearly a month and trying to give myself every opportunity um, to capitalize, and potentially upset the boogeyman,
Yeah.
a guy from nowhere.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that was a good story. No, like I said, I don't like to keep guys much longer than a half hour. And I feel like there's other questions I could have asked, so maybe we'll hook up again after your next fight. But I want to ask you one last thing about BKB, and I got to ask you about that ring. I hear all things. There's people who hate it. There's people who love it. I like it. They say it forces the fight. I feel like it does. As someone who boxes or had boxed most of your training and stuff, how do you feel about their Trigon?
it's funny. I had a lot of people ask me about that too. And even my manager, we talked about it immediately after the fight. And this is coming from someone who's more of who started out as a brawler,
Mm-hmm.
like, in the clinch, let's get nasty, to someone who became much more refined,
Yep.
much more slick. Um, I love the ring.
Yeah.
I love it because, like, if you had a guy potentially like even Cub, right? Like he has incredible lateral movement,
Right.
but I could still stay right there in range too, right where I could I just knew exactly where he was at all times.
Yep.
And it was much easier, but there's also the drawback. Like you get pinned up in a corner, like, you're not slipping and going lateral. You're not slipping and going lateral. Like you're stuck. So
Right.
you've got to fight. So to me, at first, I was like, well, this is going to be super strange coming from boxing.
Yep.
And then it turned into like, wow, I actually love this.
Yeah. That's
So, yeah, huge fan.
good. That's cool. Well, like I said, I appreciate your time. Um, hopefully, we can get with you again.
Mhm.
And is there anything else you want to leave anybody with?
Let's see. No, follow me on Instagram, Brett underscore WILL YUMZ. Thank you to all my Russian support. Thank you to all my Danish support, and thank you for all my local support as well. Because I couldn't do it without all those guys. And thank you for having me on here. Yeah, no, you're good. You're whatever you got to do.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, man. And I'll
Yes,
try to
sir.
get back a hold. When's your next fight? Do you know? Probably don't know yet.
We're thinking January.
January. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me know on that, and I'll promote that when you find out.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.
See you around.